Here with analysis, Republican Alabama gubernatorial candidate Senator Tommy Tuberville and Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Senator, when you think about what the complaints were, a lot of them were centered on the stories that NPR, let's focus on NPR for a moment and NewsHour, but NPR especially chose to cover. So it was the plight of transgender kids. It was, the ice flows, getting smaller in Antarctica. It was the various other minority interests. It was anti-Trump. But it was a lot of times it was the stories they covered and not the stories that let's say conservative parents were worried about, like keeping kids out of school during COVID, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, Laura, we did our research on this. We just don't vote on something to say we're going to cut something. And 90% of the product that they were putting out on NPR was left-leaning, very little right. Anything positive about the right was never on. And so we did our due diligence. We looked at it all. We were about 30 years too late. This should have been gone a long time ago. After the Internet, after weather channels for 24 hours all over television, people can get their news, they can get their weather. Farmers are not going to miss this. So it's been a disaster. It is a left-wing propaganda network. It is gone, and thank God.
Jason, of course, the Democrats losing a propaganda machine, it's not sitting too well with them. They're mad. Watch.
It's shameful. Simply put, Americans will die because of these cuts.
It's not hyperbole to say that public broadcasting saves lives during emergency situations.
Senator, they are fighting, Jason, they are fighting to keep funding organizations that American taxpayers partly funded and knew and understood with their very eyes were biased. But, they think they can win on saying, oh, you killed Big Bird. That's going to be their argument. You killed Big Bird, put us back into control.
Yeah, people are going to die is just sort of the common, week in and week out thing. Seriously, by not having PBS broadcast down in Blanding, Utah, you think people are going to die because of that? I'm tired of paying it. We're $36 trillion in debt, folks. We got to make some cuts around here. We lived high on the hog when you Democrats had all the control. You just kept spending money. It wasn't responsible. And for that CEO to go before Congress and go back on television and start lecturing us about how fair and balanced she is, are you kidding me? How about looking at all the stories? Because Congress did, and she is flat out totally wrong. And now she doesn't have any money, at least not from taxpayers.
Well, Senator, last year, a whistleblower actually testified a whistleblower of sorts. He's a former staffer of NPR. And he was like, look, there's credence to what the conservatives are saying. The people who work there, the people who, are there getting paid, making salaries, they all think the same way. I'm summing up his point of view. So insiders were even blowing the lid off this.
Yeah, we looked at the employment of the NPR and the people that were employed there and did some background stuff. And they were all DEI. They were all woke. And so they get what they asked for. At the end of the day, they thought that the Democrats were going to continue control for years and years and years. And they stuck their foot in their mouth by spending way too much money for 7 years, open borders. Trump gets back in, and he was bound and determined to get rid of this. Now, it was like pulling teeth to get this passed. We almost didn't get it done because of the 3 or 4 people on the Republican side. It was close, just like the big, beautiful bill was. But at the end of the day, we got it done.
Oh, well, Senator Jason, both of you, thank you very much tonight.